All right. I think we are about time, and it's time that we should begin. Is everybody able to hear me?
Yes.
Loud and clear? All right. I see that there are a lot of people who have joined in. Hi, fellow Rotarians. It's a lovely evening here and a beautiful morning out there in the US. And there are people from all across the globe joining us. So I am really grateful that all of you could take out time for this lovely session we're going to have today. Minku, I think we should be good to go, good to roll. It's 7:02.
Absolutely, Shivalik. The forum is all yours. Thank you. I see Dennis here as well. And Dennis is very special for all of us.
Hi, Dennis. Good to have you here. All right. Now, all those who have joined us, let me quickly ask you, when you came to the session, you knew it was about gratitude. What does gratitude mean to you? Maybe a quick line here or there, if I can hear it from people, maybe in the chat. Let's see who writes it first. Belonging, blessed, to say thanks. All right. Those are some good takeaways to begin with. And I am glad that we are all on one page. I'll let Melissa announce. She already has given us a great gratitude gift right early in the morning at about 9:20 her time. So we will let her do the talking on that. So I welcome each and every one of you. I would request each one of you to kindly keep yourselves mute. We would want to be able to hear everybody loud and clear. I would request each one of you to have a pen and paper handy because post the event, there would be many methods that Melissa might tell us that we might want to take a note. Within the session, we might want to take a few notes as well. And maybe we can start with some questions to her after she's done with the talk. Now, with that said, I would formally like to welcome everybody. So first and foremost, let's just talk about what are we going to take away with this. So there's a 28 days program, gratitude program that you would want to look into. For joining that, there would be links which would be sent out to you in the chats. So kindly keep a tab on that. And there are so there's a WhatsApp group will be sharing a link. So if you want to join that 28-day program, there's a link for that. So kindly join that. And there is another link that is going to be sent out to you. So please join on that as well. Now, having said that, I would like to welcome our chief guest here. And without much ado, let's first understand what is the vision that we are all going to be talking about here. That vision is what keeps us going. So the vision is to build a culture where wellness isn't a perk, it's a foundation. Where it isn't just about programs, it's about building strategies and a culture of care, resilience, and inclusion that empowers every individual to thrive physically, mentally, and emotionally. A 12-month wellness and well-being program covering 9 dimensions of physical, emotional, social, occupational, intellectual, financial, environmental, spiritual, and cultural. So every month we would be hosting the Wednesday Wisdom on Zoom, as we are doing one right now, which is going to be on the fourth Wednesday. We also hold a in-person meeting. So the Wellness Wednesday, which happens at the Rotary House of Friendship on Laval Road, which would be an interactive healing modality. So join us for both. We would like to see more and more people joining in. The last one we had was on animal flow, and it went just fabulous. There are a lot of videos of that. And I would really recommend each one of you to be a part of each of these events that we are having. Now, having said that, without much ado, let's have the right speaker talking and me doing the quiet rounds here. So just to give a background on that, I would before I begin with her side of the story, I would like to thank our governor Elizabeth Cherian for this vision. I would also like to thank our president, President Sukhen Padmanabha, for helping us get this. And I cannot but thank enough Rotarian Minku for shaping the vision so beautifully because it has impacted hundreds of people. I think she's done about 20 of these events, right, Minku? Or maybe even
That's
more.
that's correct.
So we are grateful to her, and we are being supported by a great team out here, by the way, which has Abhijit Shankar, Akhil Rasai, Kalpesh Shah, Uma Reddy, and I'm doing the talking here, Shivalik Roy. So lovely to have each one of you here. Lovely to have the presentation and the participation. Now, so Mark Twain said, "Kindness is a language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see." Our speaker today is a self described human potential alchemist who translates complex brain science into practical strategies of life, leadership, and work. She specializes in helping people, leaders, industrial teams, sectors of hospitality, healthcare, and higher education to understand how the brain shapes the way we think, comment, and create, and how small shifts in behavior can spark big results to boost performance, shape culture, and overall well being. In fact, her books and toolkits have become a go to resource for turning science into service. Today, she is here to share the fascinating science of gratitude and to run us through why it is more than a feel good emotion, how it can revive our brain strength, relationships, and even change the way we live and lead. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of RD 3192 Health and Wellness Fellowship, I give you Dr. Melissa Hughes, all the way from the United States. Let's give a big round of applause to her for being here on a very busy day at her end of the globe. She's on a different time zone altogether. Thank you, Melissa, for being here.
It's a
With
pleasure
that,
to
I
be
hand
here.
this session over to our District Director for Health and Wellness, Rotarian Minku Buttar, to take it up from here.
Hi, Melissa.
Good evening to you. Good morning on this side of the world. Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much for being here. It just truly means so much that you accepted my invitation. We've known each other now for about 5 years, thanks to our very dear friend Dennis Piroko. And I've had the joy of attending so many friendship bench sessions. Some of them are led by you, always heartfelt, Melissa, authentic and powerful. I also want to say welcome to Dennis. And I really, at this point, before we start this powerful conversation today, can I just invite Dennis to come in and just say a few words of, my gratitude to him, and just a few words from you, Dennis. Raghu,
Oh,
if you can.
sure.
Yeah, there he is.
Well, thank you. Let me just start by saying how grateful I am to be here today. I know this is about gratitude, but when this came up on LinkedIn, I had to put it in there right away for two reasons. Number one, Minku, you were putting it together, and Melissa, you were doing all the talking.
Yeah, and thank you for perpetually being that bridge, that solid bridge, no matter how turbulent, and Melissa will agree with me, no matter how turbulent the waters under that bridge, that flow, Dennis, you've always had our back, and you always ensure that we all cross over safe and sound. So my gratitude at the onstart to you.
Can I just say one more thing? We've been we've been on this journey to rediscover humanity now for over 15 years. And boy, if there ever was, well, there's always a great time, but given all the darkness out there, given the bad news we hear in the headlines, perfect time to talk about gratitude because you really need to peel back all the other layers of stuff. And underneath that all, there's still a lot of good things going on. There's more kindness than less kindness. There's more gratitude than less gratitude. And there's a lot of wonder out there. We just have to stop, exhale, stop looking at the news and start appreciating it. So this just fits like a glove into our journey to rediscover. And I can't think of anyone to talk about it more eloquently than my friend Melissa.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And with that, let's run with that. Now, I agree with you, Dennis. When we at the District Health and Wellness Fellowship here in Bangalore, we were planning the Emotional Wellbeing Month, which is in October, I knew two things. I knew that it had to be life-changing gratitude as a theme, and it had to be Melissa the minute you suggested, and I said, that's it. So we are so excited now, Melissa, to hear your wisdom and how this simple practice can rewire our brains, how it can uplift our life, and how it can open our hearts, as Dennis rightfully said. So, Melissa, getting right into this, now for decades, gratitude has been seen something as, soft and fuzzy and nice, but nothing very scientific. And now, all of a sudden, in the last decade, it seems to be earning a seat at the serious science table. So, my burning question to you this evening, as we start on this powerful journey, why do you think, Melissa, that gratitude deserves this spot alongside other psychology heavyweights in neuroscience? Why?
Well, I think part of the reason is because we've gotten so smart about the brain. And you are absolutely spot on when you say for years it has been, I don't want to say dismissed, but kind of diluted down into this feel good, fuzzy, soft skills kind of attribute. And in the 90s, the 90s are actually known as the decade of the brain. And that is when we got really serious about, think about what was happening in the 90s. Technology was just exploding. We were all getting computers. We were, the first cell phones were coming on the scene. And there were some major players in creating this initiative to figure out, while we're understanding how technology can impact our lives, let's figure out what the most important computer we have, the one between our ears, how that can impact our life. And we started to have this ability to look into the brain and to watch and see what happens when we eat chocolate or we listen to rock music or we express gratitude. And what we found was there were very specific brain neural pathways that light up, not just when we receive appreciation from someone else, but when we give gratitude. And we learned early on that we actually get more of an impact when we express gratitude to someone else than the receiver gets. And so, like, what does that mean? On your worst day, when you're feeling especially, lousy, the best thing you can do for yourself is to express gratitude to someone else. And I think when you put it in those kinds of terms, it really is a game changer for company culture and employee engagement and just better living, like just feeling better about what we're doing on this planet.
Yeah, and it also, I think I hear you, Melissa, that it's no longer just a feel good fluff, as I would call it, but it's a science. And that's amazing because sometimes the human psyche needs to be anchored in something that they can understand, rather than just the fluff. But I am still fascinated. I mean, how is it even possible that even the simplest thing like saying thank you can affect our neurochemistry? I really, really, I know I do, and everyone else won't love to know what's going on in our upper stories at that particular time, when, we're feeling so good about it.
Well, I want to start with a little story. When I first started in this kind of speaking about neuroscience, and I was speaking to business leaders, and I remember I was on an airplane once, and I was sitting next to the CEO of a company, and I was working on my computer. I was getting ready to do a presentation, and it was the general small talk, but he did seem to be a little bit interested in what was on my computer because I had brain images of brain scans and those kinds of things. So he asked, what do you do? And we started to get into a conversation. And his comment to me was, I don't need to say thank you to them. Their paycheck does that. They get paid to do what they're hired to do.
You're right.
And it really kind of rocked me back on my heels for just a second because I realized he's not alone in thinking that, especially in the workplace. There are a lot of people that think your paycheck is the gratitude, and that's so different because the paycheck is a transaction. Gratitude is a relationship. And if
Mm,
you want your folks to be engaged and truly passionate about their contributions to the organization, then you have to build relationships. The transaction is nothing compared to the relationship. So when you think about, back to your question, what actually happens in the brain when you say thank you or when you hear thank you? We know now that the human brain, the neurochemistry between our ears, can change in less than 60 seconds. So something as simple as a sincere smile with something as simple as a thank you or I appreciate you or that made such a difference in my day. Like that costs nothing and it makes a huge difference in what's going on up here. So what happens? We go back to our caveman days. You know, our when we were traversing the tundra and we would come upon a stranger, the brain's instant reaction is that a friend or a foe?
mhm.
Friend or foe? And if it's foe, I'm on the defensive, I'm getting ready, fight or flight, I'm getting ready to get out of here because my first job is to survive. Now, we aren't traversing the tundra anymore and we're not cavemen, but we still carry some of those same instincts with us. And one of them is, am I safe? And so when you meet up with someone and you get that genuine smile, or you're in the workplace and a colleague comes to you and says, hey, thank you for that thing you did on that project we worked on, that made such a difference.
It
Well,
does.
what happens in my brain? First of all, I'm instantly safe. I belong. I'm
Mm,
accepted. So my caveman, my inner caveman is like, friend, not foe.
yeah.
And when my inner caveman says, this is a friend, you are safe, then it starts to generate neurochemicals like neurotransmitters like serotonin and oxytocin and even dopamine. And when you will really understand what those chemicals do and how they impact our performance,
Mhm.
that's what makes it a game changer. So like dopamine gets a bad rap. Like we think of dopamine as the addiction chemical, and it's true, we have an overproduction of dopamine when we're addicted to something. But dopamine is also the learning and motivation chemical because dopamine's the thing that says, oh, that felt really good.
Mm,
Let's do that again. And so when you express gratitude, you get that boost of dopamine. That is the thing that says, I'm going to remember this feeling because this feels good and I want to do this again. So if you want to build a culture of gratitude, you know, it all starts with dopamine. And then oxytocin is that connection
yeah.
chemical. It's what makes us all feel like we belong, which I'm so glad you brought this up about the friendship bench on Thursdays. If you're any of you are available, that's all about connection. I mean, that friendship bench, that was Dennis's brainchild. And that all started with how do we get more connected in this ever increasing digital world? And when we get together in spaces like that, it's all oxytocin and it just makes the brain work better.
It's so heartwarming to hear that. And I think we forget. It's a very, when you use the word transaction, uh, it is a little bit of a transaction because if we want to feel good, we want to make sure that someone else also gets a chance to feel good and that you are responsible for making them feel good. And that in itself is the double whack of any kind of dope, the dopamine and the all the four, your highs, as I call them. And I love how you say that, just saying thank you, it's not just polite, it's powerful. And I think the reason why I also wanted to bring this to this wonderful set of people who've put their, their burners switched off, their stoves today, and it's almost dinner time here in India, and yet they are here today, is just to bring that awareness that how easy it is. So, I mean, if I can just zoom out for a moment and apply this gratitude attitude to the world we're looking, the world that we live in, Melissa, I mean, stress is now worn like a badge. You hear people saying, "Oh, I'm so busy," and they're really proud of it. Sleep seems optional, and burnout is almost like a trending word of 2025. So, can gratitude in that high stressful life, can it impact our physical health, our mental well-being, even our longevity, how long we live on this earth? How is it connected to science, this overall impact on us?
Absolutely. And the data is beautiful. It is, again, we'll go back to where we started this conversation. It's not warm and fuzzy. It's not feel good. It's not woo woo science. It's science. Like, we have real science to back this up. What we know now is that people who regularly practice gratitude report better sleep, stronger immune systems, lower blood pressure, even less inflammation. And when there have been studies done where people bookend their day with gratitude. So they begin the day with gratitude and they end the day with gratitude. And sometimes that gratitude is not about other people. Sometimes that gratitude is about ourselves. Like, what did I do today to make the world a better place? And that lets me put my head on the pillow, because the world is hard sometimes. It's really hard sometimes. And so, when you are able to flip that mindset around. Here's another. So you asked me to talk brain science, and I get so excited about talking brain science. So here we go. So the brain loves patterns, and the brain loves to be right. And we can it's very easy to get stuck in a negative pattern. Scientists call it the vicious cycle. And so the example I always use is, if you get up in the morning and you decide, this is going to be a terrible day. This is just going to be the worst day. I'm not looking forward to this day at all. Well, your brain is going to find every reason it can find to prove you right. And you're going to see everything through a negative lens.
Yeah.
So it's raining. Oh my gosh, it's raining. Now my hair is going to be a mess. I can't, the traffic, just on and on and on, these little things. You have to ask yourself, are more bad things happening today because I got up on the wrong side of the bed? That's a no. There are not more bad things happening. But what's happening in your brain is you're noticing more bad things. More things are being filtered in through the negative filter in your brain. And so you're seeing more things as negative, where you wake up in the morning and it's going to be an amazing day and it's raining outside. And you know what? I don't have to water my plants today. It's done. It's getting taken care of, right? That's the way your mindset shifts. And so when you think about using gratitude as a way to change the neurochemistry, so you've got all those good chemicals flowing, like oxytocin and dopamine and serotonin, then what happens is your blood pressure comes down, your heart does everything. If your heart is healthy, the rest of your body is going to follow, right? If your heart is operating the way it's supposed to, with blood pressure and all of that, your parasympathetic nervous system and your sympathetic nervous system. You've heard about the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve is the longest nerve in your body. It's the longest nerve in the human body, and vagus is Greek for the wanderer, the meanderer, and it just goes all the way through your body. And when you engage the vagus nerve, it's a signal to your brain that everything is okay. And what we found is that when you practice gratitude, you engage the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve slows your breathing and it slows your heart rate. And sometimes the parasympathetic nervous system is often called the rest and digest, because that's when we can just calm down, take a breath. And at a time when we are white knuckling everything, it seems like, and the to-do list is always longer than the day, that rest and digest, even if it's just for a few moments, can trigger some powerful changes inside the body. And if you really want to understand the physical and mental benefits of gratitude, you need to check into a guy named Robert Emmons. And he is known as the father of gratitude, which I honestly cannot think of like another title that would be better than that, the father of gratitude. But he's done significant studies. And one of them just asks people to write down things they're grateful for, just once or
Yeah.
twice a week. And they report feeling happier. They exercise more consistently. They work harder to reach their goals. Like they're more motivated. That's dopamine. They feel more connected
Mm.
to their families, to their communities. That's oxytocin. So gratitude doesn't just change your mood, it literally changes your brain, which changes behavior that affect our long-term health, because all of those good behaviors all end up in our health somewhere.
That's amazing. Maybe, do you want to spell that out for us? And maybe Shivalik can put that in the chat for everyone's sake. What
Sure.
is the name of the father of gratitude? Melissa, would you call that out
Robert,
once?
yep, Robert Emmons, Emmons.
Yeah. So if you could put that, Shivalik, and also I agree with you. Um, Melissa, towards the end, when we finished our conversation, I'm actually leading everyone. This is a shout out to everyone. Don't leave. We're just going to go through initiation into a 28-day. You said once a week, but here we are offering today every single day, 28 days. And I'm going to get into the reason why 28 days and not 66 or just 7 or whatever. So that's what tomorrow morning, there's a group being floated in the chat, and everyone starts 28-day of gratitude journaling starting tomorrow. And then coupled with your amazing gift, I think this is the luckiest batch in the whole world right now. Let's take this conversation to personal relationships. I think that's more relevant for us. Now, all of us, we want deeper, smoother connections with our partners, our friends, our family. So, how can gratitude in something? I know a lot of us take our relationships for granted. And I know couples, well, luckily, my husband and I are not one of them because I'm conscious of how important it is to introduce the sorries and thank yous. But how will being intentional and appreciating a sibling, a child, even, or a partner, how would that help make that relationship less complicated and more connected? How does that work? I mean, is there a connect to it?
So if you don't remember anything from this 90 minutes, I want you to remember this. Gratitude is relationship superglue. It keeps everything together. And part of the reason for that is because it prompts communication in a positive way.
Mm.
And when you express gratitude, you open the door for communication, which think about when you're really upset with someone and you're so upset you can't even talk to them, like you can't even look at them, like just I need to be out of the room. Gratitude, if you can express gratitude about something, it opens the door. It doesn't mean you're not still aggravated at that thing over there, But gratitude opens the door for conversation and communication and connection. And it's all about connection. And so when you can express gratitude, it signals safety and it signals belonging. And those are two key drivers of trust and intimacy in the brain. And then when you're feeling that trust and intimacy, what's happening is your amygdala, you've all heard of the amygdala hijack, your amygdala calms down, the fear threat center, and your learning center or the prefrontal cortex, the part right behind your forehead, engages.
Mm.
The thing to know about the fear threat center and the learning play center, because learning and play go together. If you think about toddlers, when toddlers are playing, they're learning. When grown-ups are playing, we're also learning because our brain is functioning in learning mode. But the fear threat center cannot be engaged while the learning play center is engaged. But the flip is true. The learning play center cannot be engaged if the fear threat center is engaged. So what gratitude does is it says to the fear threat center, everything is okay here. You don't need to, we don't need you right now. And we always need the fear threat center a little bit because it's what
Yeah.
keeps us alive. It's what keeps us from walking out into the middle of traffic, right? But the learning play center gets to be in charge. And that's when your prefrontal cortex is handling impulse control, which the world could use a lot of right now, and problem solving and creativity and all of those places that we want to hang out in our brains. And when you think about couples, there have been lots of studies on couples who express gratitude regularly are much more satisfied in their overall relationships. And teams that express gratitude regularly are much more cooperative and much more willing to contribute in areas that are not their jobs. So, expressing gratitude as under the relationship umbrella is not about ignoring problems. It's not about saying thank you for something and you're ignoring the big elephant in the room, but it's about framing connection before correction. And if you
I
can
love
think
that.
that way, like connection before correction,
Direction.
the correction goes way easier.
That is so awesome. The two things that stand out for me is that, gratitude can be such a beautiful glue. And then just to be aware of saying thank you, like when a husband puts down the toilet seat for you without being asked. That deserves a heartfelt thank you. It's the small things. And the other thing I love what you said is that even in the highly stressful days, because that's become the norm now, the pace in which we are completely running with life right now. In India, there's a very interesting word for stressful. We call it bheja fry, which all my Indian friends get. When you're having a day which feels like a scrambled egg, your brain feels like a
I need to know
scrambled
that
egg.
word, Minku. I need to know that word because I have those days.
I will definitely bring it up in our friendship bench. Beja fry. Beja means brain and means you're fried. And it's so nice to know that even those days, and even though you have the amygdala hijack, as you call it, we can still come back to a state with just gratitude, to think clearly, to connect deeply. And that's an absolute wow. I mean, amazing. And the other thing, taking away from what you said, people think that it's such a grand opera style moment. It's actually just the small thank yous. So, can you share with our audience? I'm sorry, I'm going to use the word no bullshit. I mean, like practical ways in which individuals can build gratitude in their daily life. What would you suggest? How do they start this awareness?
Well, I like to start with AI. not the AI y'all are thinking, but
Mm.
attention and intention. So those are the two kind of
Wow.
mind shifts. First, pay attention. Pay attention to, there's a quote by, I'm going to blank on the name, but we find mostly what we're looking for. So if we're looking for the good in the world, we're going to find the good in the world. If we're looking for the bad in the world, we're going to find that too. And so part of the practice of gratitude is pay attention, because if you say to yourself, and I'll challenge your folks. So you all ready for a challenge? Let's do this. I'll give
Absolutely.
you a
Let's do
challenge,
this.
okay?
Let's do. I love that.
I'm going to give you a challenge. I want you, today is Wednesday. I want you by Friday, it's Wednesday. No, it's Wednesday night your
It
time.
is.
So by Friday, so you have 2 days. I want you to look for 3 things that you are truly grateful for. Could be people, could be places, could be food, could be, it doesn't matter. 3 things that just make that moment something that stops you and makes you think, gosh, I'm really glad X exists, whatever X is. And yeah, you can only pick 3. And I will tell you what is going to happen in your brain. You're going to pick things and you're going to say, is that one of my 3? Oh, no, wait, that's one of my 3. No, 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 that's so much better. That's one of my 3. And what is that doing? You're just tricking your brain to see the good stuff, to see the positives in your day. And if you do that with people and say, I'm going to pick 3 people or one person, I'm going to pick one person at the end of the week, I'm going to send a thank you card every Friday in my own handwriting. And in the online course that I'll give you access to later, Minku, there's actually a part of what is the anatomy of a genuine thank you, because writing thank yous has become a lost art. People just don't do it anymore. And so writing a genuine thank you is so simple. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And if every Friday you say, I'm going to write one genuine thank you, and I'm going to address that envelope, and I'm going to put a stamp on it, I'm going to put it in the mail. And that person is going to go to the mailbox and be like, what? That's amazing. That feels so good. What you will do all week long is, who is my person? Is Minku my person?
Mm.
I don't know. Dennis just did this cool thing over here. Maybe Dennis is my person. And you're going to find good people all around you.
That's
And it's
amazing.
just a very simple exercise that truly shifts the brain.
That's so awesome. It's almost as if going to the beach and starting. I have this habit of going and picking up, small shell by the beach, or I collect rocks. I mean, I have collection of rocks like how, and then on full moon, I put those rocks out. So I think that's what's going to happen. You're going to start creating a tribe of good people. And then everyone seems like the bloke, the person that you can actually go to. That seems like amazing. You are just so generous. I think I'm just going to come down a little hard and ask them to write in the 28-day journal 10 things in a day. I think it's more paced out, and I quite like it. I think I'm going to go easy as well with them and say choose 3 things, not 10 things, because then your mind's really thinking deeper. That's about the personal side. You also work, Melissa, a lot with hospitality and education and corporate sectors. In that context, uh, how do you genuinely enhance teamwork? How do you boost collaboration, which is such a buzzword? How does that happen there? Or do you have real life examples where you introduce gratitude and things changed in institution? Could you throw some light on that?
Sure. I think it's really important to differentiate between sincere gratitude and a smile and nod culture. And I worked with it was a high-end restaurant group, last year, and when I went in and kind of first did my assessment, it appeared that everyone loved everyone, and everyone was positive, and everyone was just okay to be there, and everyone had a smile on their face. And if you asked someone if is everything okay, yeah, everything's great. And it didn't take long for me to see the true feelings bubbling under the surface. And what happens is when you're in a smile and nod culture, it actually is more toxic than if you're in a culture where people are free to share what's on their mind, good or bad. And so when you think about toxic, we don't think about toxic positivity.
Mm,
But it is, if it's
it
not
is.
sincere and genuine. And so one of the things, we started was we're going to start every shift with, what are you grateful for?
Mm,
And it doesn't have to be at work. Like, because here's the thing, in hotels and restaurants and whatever work environment you're in, we all bring baggage. We all bring our personal lives with us. And if there's something going on at home, if there's something brewing that is just really weighing on us, we bring that to work, no matter how hard we try not to. We're human beings. That's
mhm.
just part of the deal. And so I think, sometimes just saying, I'm grateful for, I don't know, that my husband put air in my tire today so that I
Yeah.
could get to work, right? It doesn't have to be, to your point, this big Oprah moment. It just doesn't. And most of the time, the littlest things are truly the big things. But you have to put yourself, so we talked about intention, attention. This is
And
the intention
intention.
part.
Mm,
You have to be intentional about recognizing those, number one, and then expressing them, number two. And I think that when you can do that, that's where it begins to make a real difference in the workplace. And also, just for those leaders in the room, remember, uh, compensation is not appreciation. Those are two very different things. Transaction, relationship, two different things. So if you really want to work on the relationship piece, you have to work on appreciation and gratitude.
That's amazing. There is that fine line, Melissa, between being genuinely grateful and just pretending. And I think, being a sensitive being, you will always know the difference. And then, you lose your credibility. So for me, the word that's coming up is authenticity more than anything else. And also, there's another word that fascinated me is the emotional contagion. Like it almost sounded like a virus of good vibes, right? It spreads so fast. Do you see that happening? Did that happen in any office culture that you observed that?
Of course, I mean, emotional contagion is so powerful. And we discovered emotional contagion back in 82, I believe. And it was by a scientist named Rizzolatti, and it was in Parma, Italy. And they had these monkeys connected to sensors, and they were tracking what happens when in hand-eye coordination. So hand to mouth, doing things with our hands, and what was happening in the brain. And a lab assistant came into the room with an ice cream cone and was eating the ice cream cone. And the monkey's brain responded as if the monkey was eating the ice cream cone, except for the monkey wasn't moving. But the
Mm,
brain was active in those regions of the monkey's brain were active as if the monkey was eating the ice cream cone. And then they experimented with like a whole bunch of other things, like, crack open a peanut, and the monkey's brain responded as if the monkey were cracking open the peanut and not just listening to it. It's why babies cry when they hear other babies cry. It's why it's almost impossible not to smile when someone smiles at you with a very genuine smile.
Yeah.
Like, try it. It's so hard. You almost can't do it.
It lights up the room. And if only thankfulness, Melissa, was as contagious as a yawn. You talked
Yeah,
about a smile. Even a yawn is contagious. And imagine how easy it would be, like Dennis said earlier, to just start this chain reaction of kindness, of empathy, of connection, you know. And if this is just a thought, in the lightness of things, if we all did that for each other, if an astronaut saw the Earth from the space, they would probably see just a lot of hearts on Earth. So we
absolutely.
need to just shift to being a lot lighter, kinder, and joyful. So, two quick questions before we open this to the audience for a Q&A. Um, I'm curious, what is this? Can you share one small gratitude habit that's been a game changer for you personally? And if it's weird and unexpected, you get more brownie points today. So,
I think sometimes the simplest things are the things that are the most powerful. And for me, if I'm in the middle of something and I'm starting to feel that negative place in my brain start to take over, one simple thing, pick up my phone, send an emoji, a image, a happy image, something silly, something that just makes somebody else smile and say, I'm thinking about you and I am so glad you're in my life. Just that. And it can be a colleague, it can be a personal connection. It doesn't really matter, because what happens when you do that is you will imagine what that person is feeling when they pick up the phone and see that smile, that emoji, that happy face, whatever it is. And the reason that you're able to do that is because of emotional contagions, because we're human beings and we have empathy and we've been there before and we've had that fun emoji come across on our phone. And we know how good that feels just for no reason. There's also some science behind the surprise element of that. And I think that's the part that really makes it powerful for me. Think about if you get for the ladies in the room, if you get flowers on your birthday, that's nice. I mean, flowers are nice. Flowers are always nice. Thank you. That's nice. But if you get flowers on some random Tuesday just because you are the greatest woman on the planet, what? That's amazing. Like, that surprise intensifies that emotion because I wasn't expecting it and it caught me off guard. And what? That was so cool. I have a fur baby that's trying hard to be in my
oh, absolutely. Please.
hold one
Yeah.
second. Go, go,
Yeah.
go. Okay, sorry
So,
about that.
yeah, no, let her be part of the session.
This is her
Absolutely.
house.
We are very
She just
inclusive.
lets me live in it.
Yes, they're always the boss. But yeah, so I quite like that idea of unexpected. Of course, you've got to be careful and cautious not to become skeptical when you receive flowers. What does he want? Well, what is he hiding, or what is she hiding? Why the flowers? So I think we have to park that skepticism on the side and receive it with an open heart, just because.
I think that's prefaced with, you already have a relationship where that's okay. Like, I would not send flowers to, a colleague that I barely know. That would be creepy, right? You just don't do that. So it has to be, have to already established kind of this understanding of gratitude and appreciation for one another before you go there. But the surprise element of, hey, I was just thinking about that time that you helped me on that project, and it just like gave me the juice to get through this afternoon. So thanks. Something like that.
That's
So
lovely.
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Melissa, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, and definitely this tribe here today doesn't know, but I created a set of I appreciate you cards. And anyone who sends me a sweet message after this session today is going to receive a set of I am grateful for dash, dash, dash. And I'm going to gift it to each one, personally post it. But for that, I need to receive a beautiful message from each one. It's
That's
about it.
awesome. I love that.
Yeah, so I've had those cards given away, and we've even had someone who said I was suicidal. And
Oh.
so what you do is you carry these cards in your purse. And when you see whether it's a waiter or a security guard, someone who's done something kind for you, you take out a card and ask them their name. You connect with them. And you just say, what's your name? And just say, thank you. And someone who's not expecting puts that little card on their mantle for days together and is on a perpetual high for being acknowledged. And that's really beautiful. So, yeah, so my last question, the punch of punch questions. When it's such a easy exercise, no matter how tough the going is, it's reshaping your mindset. It's works on our relationship, our health. It costs nothing, like you said beautifully. My big question, why don't we practice it enough?
Well, the
What's
answer might surprise you is because of how the brain is wired.
mm,
So we are wired. Remember the ancestors, our cavemen and women who came before us, they're wired to seek out danger. So that's our built-in negativity bias. And that's what has kept us alive for millions of years. That's part of who we are. And we need that negativity bias, a part of it, right? We need that to be there sometimes. But what we sometimes what if you remember how much of your thought processes happen in your subconscious. So seeking out the negative things in life, a lot of that is happening in the subconscious. That's your brain keeping you alive, and you're not really conscious of some of those. So one way to overcome that is to trick your brain and AI, attention, intention,
intention?
right? Because gratitude is the antidote for the negativity bias. And it'll
That's
still
true.
work. It's still going to keep you alive. It's still going
That's
to be
true.
running in the
Mhm.
background because that's what it does. But like any muscle, we need to strengthen it. We need to practice. We need to do it. Repetition over time is what we need to override that bias. So,
That's true.
in our hurried days, we rush, we multitask, we and make a lot of assumptions. We make a lot of unfair judgments. And in all of that, hurry, 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 get through, check the
Hurry.
boxes, we miss a lot of those micro moments that actually give life meaning. And if you look at the science is very clear. Gratitude does not take a lot of time. It's quick to deliver and it's quick to deliver results in
Mm.
both brains, right? And it gives back. But it takes a minute to make it a habit. And that's why I love the 28-day, because there is science in 28 days, and
Yes.
I won't spoil that for you. But you can repetition and practice makes it a habit, and that's when it becomes as strong as that negativity bias.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Melissa, for officially giving our brains a gratitude upgrade and for making science feel so human. I appreciate you so much. So deep gratitude. And I look forward to seeing you in person in Tampa Bay in February of 26, where we are both
Thank
coming in as speakers, and that would be so awesome. So thank you so much. And to everyone, please don't go away. We will come back with a very powerful initiation into 28 days. Now over to Shivalik for questions from the audience. And Melissa, thank you so much. Please stay back if you wish to just to see what the 28 days. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you.
My
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Minku. It was very smilingly insightful. So I wish I'd met you when I was in Fort Myers a couple of years back. But anyways, we shall be catching up
Oh,
soon.
me too. Next time.
All right. So we will open the house for a couple of quick questions. I want to take the first one on this. You said 90s was known as a decade of the brain. What changed between the 90s and now? And you said smiles, but since we've all traveled across the globe, do you think across cultures, smiles can have different connotations or can be taken differently as well?
I think smiles are the universal language. I think when you smile, I don't care what language you speak or don't speak. When you see another human being smiling at you with genuine sincerity, it speaks to you. It just does. And you know that you are accepted. You know that that person's a friend, not a foe, and you lean in. And I think that's the other important piece. We lean in when we know someone, we're safe with someone. So for sure, I think smiles are like music. It's the universal language. Um, what has changed since the 90s? Well, we keep getting smarter. I mean, think about the technology that emerged from the 90s, and like one of the biggest things was MRI and fMRI. And if you know this already, apologies, but fMRI is just functional MRI. It looks inside the brain and it is able to observe what's happening to your brain when you're functioning with something, when you are doing something. If you've ever had an MRI and you have to be very, very still and you're not allowed to even breathe deeply, that's different. That's the MRI. But functional MRI became really, really important because we could look at just common everyday activities and say, what's that doing to the brain? Like gratitude, like exercise, like listening to different music. So, I mean, I think the more you learn how much you have to learn, right? And so I think that's what happened from the 90s is we realized we thought we knew a lot about the human brain, but we really didn't. And as technology grew and advances allowed us to get smarter and smarter and smarter, the smarter we got, the more we realized there was so much more to learn. And the brain is still super, super mysterious in a lot of ways. So
Indeed, intelligence became artificial intelligence. So there's a lot happening on that side.
agreed.
Right.
Agreed.
Others, any questions? Rotarians, please feel free to ask her any questions that you would want to have.
Yes, I have one. This is Dennis. I have to leave soon, but I wanted to lob one question over to Melissa. Minku, you mentioned earlier the notion of journaling, and I know you're going to be talking more about that. But Melissa, is it true for the people that are maybe shut-ins, they can't leave the home, they can't experience, or they can, but they don't have the opportunity to experience gratitude from other people or gratitude from just, looking around and sensing the wonder of what they see or other smiles. Is it true that writing a gratitude journal still makes a difference and it does help in rewiring the brain?
Absolutely. And that is such a great question, Dennis. We learned so much in the pandemic about gratitude. If you think about how many people were isolated, so we didn't have connection, our daily routine was disrupted. We couldn't do all the things that we like to do. We couldn't go out to dinner. We couldn't all of these things that we couldn't do anymore. And they did some studies with folks who all they did was keep a daily gratitude journal. And if that's all you do, that's powerful because there are a couple things happening there. First of all, you the brain does is so wicked smart and amazing, but it kind of does a pretty terrible job of differentiating between what you're imagining and what's real. And so when you write something in your own handwriting and you imagine a time 5 years ago that Dennis did this amazing thing for you and this is how I felt, your brain is going to respond as if it's happening right now. and seeing it in your own handwriting makes it that much more powerful. So again, if you're having a hard day, write a note of gratitude to someone else, or write a note of gratitude to yourself. Just reflect on a moment that you're really grateful for. And that kind of journaling can be really powerful.
Well, thank you.
I see a question here by Rotetan Rajshekhar Patil. So would you like to say it out, or do you want me to read it for you? He is asking about what are the most surprising findings from neuroscience about how we can unlock our potential.
Oh my gosh, that is a great question too. Thank you for that. I think for me, and I think this is a pretty subjective question. I think if you asked someone else who studies, there are so many different facets of neuroscience to dig into. But for me, I think the most surprising findings have to do with learning and motivation. And I am an academic at heart. I mean, I am the schooly kid. I was the, I have more highlighters in my desk drawer than I know what to do with. And I like to write and highlight and read and have it read to me and, all those things. What I know now about learning and motivation, I really wish I would have known when I was in college. Because what we have learned is that when you learn in chunks and you give yourself some time for the brain to process that, and you walk away from that thing that you're learning and then come back to it, that's when you create these neural pathways in the brain and make it really stick. And my strategy was to bury my nose in a book and don't come out until I know it. Like that, and all the all-nighters I pulled and all of that stuff that we did when we were young. And we know that is the opposite of the way the brain really wants to learn. The other surprising thing for me, I think, is this idea of challenge. So when you think about people who are dissatisfied at work, most of the time they're not dissatisfied because work's too hard. Most of the time they're dissatisfied because work's too boring, because work does not fulfill them, because they don't feel like they're making contributions that actually matter. And so when you think about what they call the Goldilocks rule, tasks that are too easy, there's not enough dopamine, so you lose motivation, you lose interest, you quit. Tasks that are too hard generates cortisol, you get frustrated, shuts down the prefrontal cortex, engages the fear threat center, and you give up because that's not a comfortable place to be. The sweet spot of challenge, any kind of challenge, is just out of reach. You can't do it now, but you can see it. You can almost touch it. And if you do just a couple things, you can get there. That's the sweet spot of motivation and success. And when I learned that, it changed the way I set goals for myself. And that was just amazing to me.
Kalpesh bhai, you want to ask that question yourself? It's a brain picking one. You are on mute, Kalpesh bhai.
Mute myself. Thanks, Melissa. It was a wonderful program. It was just, I mean, every point that Minku and you brought out, it was so enlightening. I mean, it just has changed the way I think.
Well,
And I hope it'll help me.
gratitude just changed my brain. So thank you for that.
I wanted to know how gratitude can fix insomnia.
Oh, good question. Now, insomnia is different from just a mood disorder, right? So in many cases, insomnia is rooted in something that is more than just how you're feeling. But insomnia, you can ease insomnia and get a better night's sleep with gratitude, because what happens is if you look back on your day, at the end of the day, you look back on your day, and I want you to pick out all of the things that went wrong, everything that went wrong. I had difficult conversation with this person. I didn't finish that task. My to-do list is only half done. I didn't get the laundry done. The kitchen's a mess. Like, I can go through on any given day, you can have a short list of 10 things that are no good. And what does that do? Every single one of those things makes your brain produce cortisol. And that fear threat center rises up. And when that happens, your brain says, man, there's a lot of unresolved stuff going on up here. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? I can't go to sleep. I can't be calm. I can't be in my rest and digest nervous system state with all this unresolved stuff going on. And so what happens is you never get to that deep sleep. And the reason that's really important is because sleep is when you get into that deep restful sleep, that's when that's when the interstitial spaces in your brain spread, and it allows glial cells to come in and clean out all those neurotoxins. Think of it as like the street cleaner in your neighborhood. If the street cleaner cannot get on the streets and clean them, then all that rubbish and all of that garbage is sitting on the side of the street. And what happens? Then the cars don't have easy access to get where they're going. Same thing happens in the neural pathways. If the glial cells cannot come in and clean out all those neurotoxins and the brain cells that you've killed with stress throughout the day, because that happens, then in the morning, those spaces still have all that garbage on them, that's still cluttered. And that's when we experience brain fog. So when we are able to use gratitude to get into that rest and digest space, we don't just get a good night's sleep, but we actually clean up all the clutter. And tomorrow we have a better thinking day. So that's awesome.
Thank you, Kalpesh bhai. Thank you, Melissa. Before we finally come to the end, Minku, could you just enlighten us? A lot of links being shared. Could you help us with the initiation of the 28-day gratitude program?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Melissa. And thank you for everyone who asked a question. It just took it to a deeper level. When we were setting up and saying what kind of a conversation, Melissa and we talked about it, we actually said this first conversation, the first round is going to be general conversation. And now I'm just realizing that next month, when we have a speaker, as Melissa has now realized, we can go deeper because we have a very intensely thinking intellectual kind of audience that comes in. And this going deeper was really beautiful and beautiful questions. Thank you, Shivalik, for holding fort, as well as let's get on then with the initiation. So one thing is clear after Melissa's talk, that it isn't just a good fluff. It can rewire us for joy, for strength and connection. Now, here's the soul part. This is where I'm going to shift you from the scientific to the very soulful part of it, to tell you and share with you that gratitude is not just a vibe or a lens, it's actually magical. I know we've not used the word magical, but I'm going to take you into that realm now. So also what Melissa said, focus on what's good and life gives you more of it. Have you ever noticed that? It can lift you, it can shift you, and it turns enough into more than enough. That's a powerful sentence. When you're in gratitude, it turns not enough into more than enough. And that is the power of gratitude. And this journey of 28 days is going to be from a journey from lack to abundance. And I can see some of you are already smiling in anticipation, and you are going to witness this. I promise you this. Some of you, there's a few slides I have prepared for all of you. Some of you asked me, they send me a message saying, why should we practice journaling for 28 days and not the usual 21 days that a lot of people talk about? So here is the honest truth. Um, the whole 21 days to form a habit is actually a myth. Okay, so the background story is that there is a Dr. Maxwell Maltz, and it took his plastic surgery patients to adjust 21 days to the new look. And somehow it just caught on. It's like our 10,000 steps. It's not necessarily true. It's just a benchmark. So the truth about habit formation is that it takes 66 days to make a habit. And I'm not going to go into the scientific annotation of it. I have a neuroscientist here in Melissa. But why are we doing 28? Because really, when I think about it, 7 feels like a weekend fling. It's too little. And 66 might start feeling like homework and a second job. So 28, I thought it works. It's a sweet spot. It's not too short to fake it, and it's not too long that it gets boring. So I think that's really, if you do it diligently, it really works. Tiny habit, powerful shift. A small example of someone who really believes, Oprah Winfrey. If you read about her, she says, be thankful, she says, for what you have. You'll end up having more abundance. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever have enough. And she said that gratitude journaling has helped us to stay grounded, attract positivity, and all of that. I've had my personal 180-degree turnarounds, but that's for another day. So before we begin this beautiful gratitude practice, Raghu, could you please pull up the first just slide for a few seconds and then just go on to the second slide. So this is something I usually have sitting on my desk. I can send this to you all if you wish later. You can print it and have this in a place where you will perpetually see this, okay? And it really works like Melissa said. Second slide, please. And then if I could have the second and then the third as well. So Shivalik had asked you to grab a pen and paper. I see some of you diligently took some notes down to ponder later. So now I would like you to read. This is where we're going to do this beautiful exercise. I would invite you all to read this, okay? And then using this scale, rate how much you agree or disagree. For example, if you strongly disagree with a statement, give yourself a score of 1, okay? If you disagree, give yourself a 2. And could we, as we have this, could we have the music as well? But Raghu, I don't know how you will play the music because I do want the slide on at the same time, unless you can have both of them parallel. So let's take a minute. Let's engross ourselves. If Raghu is yes, he's playing the music. Please take a minute and score yourselves. Answer each one. Rate yourselves with the score. And once you've answered, add your score. And can you share in the chat, please?
I am so blessed.
Take a minute to score yourself.
So blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all
would like each one of you to attempt this, please.
I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all.
Uma, you will have to give me a total aggregate.
I am so
Your score can't be 6
blessed.
because you have a 7 and a
so
5 and 4. Usually your score will be above 40 and 50.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful.
Renu, you need to add every single 10 questions.
I am so blessed.
Melissa, amazing.
So blessed.
Prasad,
I am so grateful.
let's just give everyone just a few more seconds.
I am so blessed.
I invite you also, maybe you can stop the music now. Let me, Raghu, let me explain to everyone. I invite you all to take a snapshot of this, and maybe you can do this later and share it. Everyone has my number. All of you know me. Most of you do. Yes. So for Dayanand, Renu, and Uma, I would really invite you to revisit how you calculate. You have to allocate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to each question, depending on how you agree or disagree. Could I, and then you're going to get your total. Can we go to the next slide? And this is where it gets interesting. Can we go to the next slide, please? Oh, there you are. So every one of you can now see if you have a score of between 45 to 40, then you're below average gratitude, which just means nothing. It just means that you are going to pause a little bit more. Don't be disheartened if your scores are low. It just shows that you need to start to pause and appreciate things. If you have a high score, which would be like 60 plus, I don't see 60 here. I see a 54. That's excellent. Please don't get too smug about it because there is always room for expansion. And remember that even a high vibe energy has scope to expand. And the more you deepen your practice, your vibrations will change and your life becomes more aligned, more abundant, and you become a magnet. I think this is, and Melissa will agree with me, this is where we need to reach. We need to become a magnet to whom everyone is attracted to. And that's where and how we need to raise our vibration. Let me just I mean, when we talk about vibration, yes, you could have that slide on, Raghu. Thank you. Now, Einstein said it first. I didn't say it. He said everything in life is energy, and we all give up vibes when we talk. When we meet on Mondays, or I go and meet some of you in another district. How we talk, how we move, everything, how we feel. Whether we say it out loud or not, but joy, love, gratitude, these are amazing magnetic energies. But if you're feeling stress and you're feeling anger, your fears, then that's the vibrations you're going to radiate this. Now, if you look at that, just look at this beautiful chart. And do you see how in a vibration chart, gratitude is actually right up there? It's quite incredible. It's such a mood lifter, right? It's such an energy shifter. And just to get into the right, I just invite you to do a small exercise with me. I just want you to all close your eyes. Just indulge me and yourself. Just take a deep breath and just close your eyes for a moment and imagine that you have just gotten up. It's early morning, like it is on Melissa's end. And imagine that you're just taking a little stretch. And I would love to all of you to take a stretch right now, physically, with your eyes closed. Stop writing, stop doing anything. Just take a huge stretch like a cat would. Oh, and just say to yourself, oh, I'm just going to have such a fantastic day. Such a fantastic day. Set your attention and intention, like Melissa said. And now just open your eyes slowly. How does that feel? Can we integrate that as a gratitude practice every single day? Start with attention and intention. Uh, you are going to smile more if you start your day like this. You will notice people react to you differently and life just flows. There's one thing I always say: allow life to flow with ease, joy, and glory. So that should be, make that your first sentence when you, can we just go, so your vibrations, if you have fear, you're vibrating only at 100 and people will feel it. They don't want to be around you. But if you, and God consciousness, and to be ultimately connected to your consciousness, that's at 1,000. The next one, please. Okay, so let's get into the magic formula now, right now. If you want to invite more magic, Raghu, slide 6, please. Yeah, so starting tomorrow, we're going to kick off 28 days of gratitude. Each morning, you are going to get a simple prompt from me. And we are going to focus in 28 days. Thank you, Uma. Uma has just shared the gratitude WhatsApp group. Please join that. That is where the prompt from me is going to get. And we are going to focus on health, different days. We're going to focus on relationships, finances, everything that you can think of. And when you receive that prompt, you can do it at any point of day. Best is to do it later in the evening because you would have had experiences, you would have had awareness of things to be on gratitude. And one of the days, I'm going to ask you to go and choose a magical rock. So this 28 days is based on Rhonda Byrne's gratitude, magic of gratitude. And then, of course, as I've led about 20, 25 of these for different groups, and it just keeps evolving. So the goal is to build a daily habit of thankfulness that shifts your mindset forever and lifts your energy. Okay, so this next one, Raghu, can I have slides? So this is how it's going to look like. This is the crux. Please, I'm going to share that tomorrow morning for those of you who joined the group already. But also, you can choose any of these when you write your 10 blessings. I did warn you, 10 blessings. If you finish doing just 5, it is perfectly okay. Slowly, you would want to do 20, and that's where the awareness comes in. So you're going to make 10 blessings. You go back and read each one in your mind or aloud. And once you are done, you're going to repeat the magic word for each blessing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then in your bottom of your stomach, in your guts, in your heart, you're going to actually believe and you're going to actually feel that gratitude very, very, very genuinely. Okay, so that is how, so you could choose to write your blessings. For example, can we go to the next one? I'll give you another example. This is what's coming to you tomorrow. So you're going to make a list of 10 blessings. Write why you are grateful for each blessing. So what you saw in the previous is 4 or 5 options. Please stick to that. Those are well-researched sentences. So you could choose, I feel blessed because dash, 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 or I feel blessed because of dash, dash, dash. Make sure you sit always in the same place. Create a magical corner for yourself, a quiet corner, Remember attention, intention every single day when you do this task for yourself, this beautiful practice. So this is how we're going to do it, right? Here's the deal. 28 days of sincere gratitude. It might sound like a big commitment, like it's like agreeing to join a group text with your in-laws. Even it would just sound like, oh, I don't want to do this. How can I do this? But stick with it is my request, and you'll start noticing all the beautiful thing that you usually miss out on, like your coffee is going to taste more amazing, or that one socks that you missed out. Okay, so there we are. So any questions before we close this session? Is there any questions? Please share your miracles in the group. And if you want those cards, you can reach out to me. So,
Minku, one more thing, you can share the link in the WhatsApp group, the district WhatsApp group.
yes, we will be. Uma, you can do that already. It's here as well, Prasad. It's right here as well. If you wanted to join, you can join right now. That's all. If you don't have any questions, I think it's going to become clearer. We're running out of time a little bit, and we would like to close before 8:30 as promised. With that, I just feel very, very happy that you are going to go into this magic together. And let's bring the good vibes on. Thank you. Over to you, Shivalik.
Thank you, Minku. That was insightful. I would now request Abhijit to please come in with a vote of thanks.
Hi, Shivalik. Thank you so much for the word of thanks and for giving me the opportunity to do the word of thanks. I would, at the outset, thank Melissa. Melissa, thank you so much for taking your time out and giving us this wonderful session. And I would thank all the organizers, all the team, and everybody else who has worked very tirelessly in making this program a success. And I truly hope that all of us will take benefit of the 28-day program, which is being curated and run by Minku. And let's all have a great life ahead. And of course, thank you so much to our DG, Professor Elizabeth Charin, Professor Elizabeth Charin, and the entire team at the district for giving us the opportunity to do this. Thank you so much. And over to you, Minku, for the closing notes.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I am just going to pass that right back to Shivalik.
Thank you, Minku. Thank you, Abhijit, for that. So, it was a great session. Diwali is round the corner, and I'm sure everybody's going to get very busy with all the festivities. But we will be meeting you soon next month with a new motivational and interactive talk on personal refinement by Master Behram Gishta. This is happening on the 12th of November. If you want to know more about our programs, please join the WhatsApp group. The links are being shared right now. Make sure that you're there for each one of these sessions. It's really insightful. It's great to have all of you there. Great questions that come by. With that, I'll call it a day. Thank you, Melissa, for your time. Thank you, Minku. Thank you, everybody who joined in. It was indeed insightful.